looked at international and local off-road motorsport for years. But courtesy of ABSA and the African Heritage Cross Country World Cup second leg, that all changed at the end of July. Round 5 of the ABSA Off-Road Championship Series, run in conjunction with the international event, was held in and around the picturesque city. And round 5 of the Nationals was, as always, a squeaker. All 7 of the hotly contested categories were still up for grabs, even though the battle lines had been drawn and most of the top contenders had sorted themselves out. But as it so often happens, a late charge or two and everything can be turned on its head. While teams were feverishly beavering away at their last-minute prep, the route was being laid out, and it would be a challenging one, stretching from the race headquarters at the Garden Court, East London, to Bishu, about 100 kilometres out of East London, for the start of the event, and then onto the beautiful Amatole Mountains, which by the end of the weekend would hold a wonderful surprise for the competitors. For defending national champions Nissan, there was the added inspiration of trying to make it 5 out of 5 victories in the year 2007. Duncan Voss and Hannes Grobler had already both notched up 2 fine wins and were intent on keeping the streak going. Voss's win with the stand-in co-driver Richard Leek in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race took him to the top of the championship standings, and the former champion was indeed desperate to stay there. But there was only 12 points in it, and Grobler and his co-driver Francois Jordan can never be discounted. The route was ideal for the SPs.
I think everyone's in the same boat, so there's no advantage for everyone. From what we've heard, it's quite a fast event, so that'll definitely suit our cars. So, you know, you've got to take each event as it comes, but hopefully we'll be well placed for this event.
The competition out there is now getting tougher and tougher, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, you know, all the teams are very, very fast. All the cars are very equal, so you've got to really think on your feet and make the best of the situation.
In the Toyota enclosure, there was a positive air, and newly crowned national class rally champion Marc Cronier was feeling upbeat.
And the guys have done a good job on the vehicles. I mean, we showed that we had some promising pace at the desert race. Unfortunately, the circumstances didn't play in our favour, and in off-road racing there are a lot of factors. It's not just about raw speed, it's about all the other factors around you that you've got to try and play into your favour, and it doesn't always plan out that way.
For Ford, a new environment meant a new challenge, and Brandon Harkis loves those.
Yeah, it's always nice to come somewhere new, it's a different challenge, and I think in off-road we've got some great events, and hopefully this will be just as good as some of our top events. And I've heard a lot about the route, that it's fast and open, and but you know what, it's always the same. 500 kilometer racing, anything can happen. I believe the prologue's going to be a slight advantage to certain cars, they got a little bit more top end, but at the end of the day, we've got what we've got, and we're going to make the best of that, so we've got to look to score where our advantage is.
For Class E leaders and winners already this season, Ruacon's George and Sharon Barkhuizen, planning wasn't really an option.
Well, plans, it's difficult to make plans. It's a completely new event. So we want to obviously get a good prologue. Don't take it too slow. But then tomorrow is a long day. We're gonna, we have to finish. I think the stage now is if you don't finish a race, you're out of the championship. So we have to conserve and make sure that we finish races.
And that's what the special vehicle drivers would have been thinking. Here, father and son Nick and Ryan Harper were sitting pretty 10 points ahead of Motorite's Evan Hutchison and co-driver Akim Bergman.
Look, I've got to drive very fast to stay up there, but I've also got to be conservative. I've got to be careful that I don't throw it away and get a DNF. So I'm going to be quick and conservative and see where we are at the end of the race,
So it's a bit of a dilemma. You're sort of between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, that's it. You've got guys who haven't got any points and they're just as fast, and they're going to go balls to the wall to try and win this race. And we've got to decide, do we chase them or do we just hold back and wait and see what happens? At the same time, we've also got to go quick on the time trial to get a good place so we're not too far back and we're not in the dust,
Motorite's Evan Hutchison was again ready to lead up front in the procession.
Yeah, it's worked in our favour. I'm fortunate enough to have a good navigator, so finding the route, being the first car to find the route, can have its advantages as well as its disadvantages. We often have to mow down the grass and find a way in some places. So it's never been a disadvantage. We seeded first for most of last year, and up until this race this year, we've been seeded first on qualifying. So starting in the front obviously hasn't given us a major problem. Although most of the time trials are normally 40 to 50 k's. Today we're going to be running 100 kilometers of virgin terrain. It just inspires us. We're out there in the front, we're the first car out there, and we just got to try and keep the car in the front. So I don't foresee a major problem. We'll go and give it our best.
For Class S leader Richard Schilling of the East London area brought back some fine memories.
I think in the early 90s we raced here. An event called the Settlers 500. It was a lovely event. It was started in Grahamstown, I think, went to Kenton and back. It was always a good outing. So nice to be back in the Eastern Cape. I think it's good for off-road racing that we're moving away from traditional areas and coming to places like East London, Bishop. It's good.
The championship is going quite well for you.
Yeah,
nice lead. What's the plan for this weekend?
Well, to finish on 4 wheels, not 3 wheels like at the Toyota 1000. That last 20 kilometers at the Toyota 1000. It took a lot of effort to finish. We did it on 3 wheels, but to prep the car for this event has been a lot of work.
Understandably so after this damage, but that's the sport for you. However, at the Bishu City Centre, there was an undeniable air of excitement as the cars started to line up to take on a daunting and rather long 92 kilometres of prologue to determine the starting order for the next day's racing. The Harpers hit the road first and were raring to go. While Hutchison's Black Monster sounded rough, tough and ready. The Amatole 500 was game on, but on the route the specials soon found out that it was an ultra-fast layout and needed a lot of serious driving to keep it going at full tilt. While the lack of rain certainly did not help either. For the 5th event in a row, the dust factor would be one of the deciding factors. Cox and his co-driver Henny Tersteger were off to a good start. While the big red Rapsabat with Nardus Alberts and Colin Hunter aboard were flying in 3rd on the road in the special vehicle class. Shamir Varayawa and Siegfried Rousseau have impressed this season and were certainly due a win. They were 4th. With Hutchison, the team manager at Motorrad, and Bergman right on their tails, pushing hard. The Century Property Development's bat in the hands of Colin Matthews and Alan Smith Calling appeared next, in turn just 22 seconds behind the Motorrad lads, and it proved that the competition was tough. Botswana challengers Karl-Heinz Sulwalt and Paul Helberg in their Zarko were next quickest, just another 12 seconds back. It was a logjam at the top. With the Harpers and the Atlas Copco bat in 8th place, sticking to their cautious approach early on. Herman Sulwalt and Mornay Moller were next fastest in the 2nd Sulwalt transport car. With the amiable Naeem Musaji and Rehan Bodyana filling out the top 10 in their Total Motorsport Jimco 2000. The new outfit, Regent Insurance Partners, were pleased with the father and son, Jan and Hendrik Kraai, in Class B Championship leaders, shooting for a 5th consecutive win. With Marcus Taylor and Derek Keith chasing them just 5 minutes further back. In Class S, Richard Schilling and his nav, Chris Davies, in their Plastotech Aceco led, but only by 36 seconds. And that was from Glenn Gibson and Mark Whitehurst in their Absolute Raceco, who clocked 62 minutes and 8 seconds. But at the top, with a victory margin of just 59 seconds, it was Gary Berthold and Jeff Minnett in their Atlas Copco bat. Jeff was making a welcome return to the sport after a 9-month hiatus. Cox and Tersteger chased hard, but were pushed by Alberts and Hunter all the way. In the production car class, Mark Rooney and Chris Birkin picked up where they left off in Botswana in their Castrol Toyota. The pair had just won the Class A7 championship in the National Rally Series and were flying along on this ultra-fast route. And the Barlow World Absolute Ford Ranger of Manfred Schroeder and Ward Huxtable also made full use of the gravel roads to notch up exactly the same time as Grenier, 49 minutes and 39 seconds. Toyota got the Nissan eyebrows furrowed when they made it 2 out of 3 with Bevan Berthold and Robin Houghton third, just 28 ticks further back. with the Nissan Navaras of Grobler and Jordan and Vos and Pitchford only separated by 5 seconds. Vos is cool, calm and collected in the cockpit.
Straight. Watch the kettle. Turns right. And then 100 T-junction right. Yeah, T-junction right. Yeah, on the crest. Turn right.
But then, so is Pitchford. Chris Visser and Jaapie Baardhorst made it 3 for Toyota when they took 6th in 50 minutes and 53 seconds. Just holding off 2 former champions, Neil Woolridge and Kenny Schothammer in their Ford Ranger, who are also showing a return to form. The De Bruins, Hichu and Jaap were next in yet another Toyota, just 7 seconds further back. While Mark Corbett and Rudy Balzar bolstered the Nissan hopes again when they took 9th place in the Century Property Development Nissan Navara. Harkis and his co-driver Jean Moore, also in a Ford Ranger, appeared next in the SP class and were 10th, just over 53 minutes, nursing the car through. With the BB Auto Nissan of Arnold du Plessis and Johan Knox leading Class D. And in Class E, it was predictably the Barkhuizens who were sharing their marital bliss in the Ruricon Toyota, leading by 34 seconds. The Zermatten brothers, Henry and Maurice, were just 1 minute 53 behind and chasing hard in their Ryobi Nissan hardbody in Class D, while Brian Martin and Oki Fourie, who held their own nicely in Botswana, were second in Class E, but only by that 34-second margin to the Barkhuizens. With just 1,000 meters to go to the finish line for Giel Nel and Sandra Labuschagne in their Luke Truggy Zarko, there was a little off-road excursion into some serious-looking thorn trees and what looked like then the end of their prologue.
So we can come back and fetch it.
What happened?
Oh, we came in and that hole caught us out. But I mean, look how many guys it caught out here. It's just bushes and poles is off and everything. That thing caught us out, and I turned the car around and then the left wheel broke off. Otherwise we would have been there, you know.
And they were not the only ones. The deploys in their RFS Nissan hardbody overestimated their road holding ability and, as they say in the classics, the rest is history.
Yeah, we don't have any wipers now, and as we came around the turn, we can't see the road surfaces. So that little bump here caught us out, and yeah, right. End of the story.
A couple of rolls.
Yeah.
Bad luck there. 1K to go.
Yes, that's what happened with motorsport. So, but I'm glad that both of us were quite well. So next time we'll do it again.
A quick summary of damage, or be able to save the car?
Yeah, no, we don't know yet, but we will see. We can still continue tomorrow.
But that was almost debatable too, as the Ford of Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro almost got the Nissan for a front grille. Luckily they avoided it and finished 4th in Class E. Putting their rally skills to good use, Cronje and Birken led 4 Toyotas home in the top 9, with Nissan taking 3 places in the middle. But the battle lines had been drawn and the gloves were off.